Greetings. It is January 31st, and here I am with your monthly Allodium recap update video. In the last month, there's been quite a lot that's gone on in the last month. But not really here. Here it's been settling into hibernation mode. Finishing stocking up on all the supplies necessary in order to be prepared for hibernation. So it's mostly food, but other supplies as well. I've upgraded the tech status, tech level of the off-grid foundation here. With drone technology and 3D printing technology, and at one time there was satellite internet here all running off-grid, but there was basically some sort of technical difficulties, so that wasn't continued. But the long-term plan was to do that for about a 2-year period, and that's how long that contract was, and then to transition to Starlink, which is Elon Musk's new space internet, which is supposed to be super fast, and also has parallels with the Terminator kind of Skynet, which is the negative, but hopefully the negative doesn't happen. And the positive is that there should be excellent internet connectivity. That's supposed to be showing up on Wednesday, I believe. So by the end of this week, I just downgraded, been just relying on the phone service and just downgraded that. So it's kind of like it was going medium speed, and then it went down to like real slow speed where we're at now, and we should go back up to super fast speed as soon as the Starlink is activated. And then the idea is to build a mesh network off of that connection, so that the whole foundation here will have excellent Wi-Fi internet connectivity. That's pretty much it. Just been burning the wood and staying warm, keeping everyone fed. The chickens have been not producing for a while. After going into their molting period, maybe like November, December, and yesterday they laid their first egg, which is a great sign of the new season upon us. Looking forward, the next month is basically peak winter. We've gotten through the first third of winter or more, and the next month is the peak of winter, the peak of cold and freeze, and that whole energy of death, but also that which weeds out, in a sense, that which cannot survive the winter, which is the great thing about living in this kind of seasonal environment. All sorts of toxic, poisonous, blood-sucking entities cannot survive the cold, and thus we don't have to deal with them up here. And I personally really enjoy the winter and the hibernation and the introspective aspect of it all, and I treat it as a sober season. I've been doing a lot of reading. I've read a couple books since the last video, the Far Pavilions and the Fountainhead, and 2 other unknown name books. Moving on to some other book about something, love, the heart, something. And yeah, externally, all sorts of stuff has gone on. There was all of the crescendo leading up to the whole election and everything, and then after reaching that point, a lot of that drama has subsided, and I'm equating it like a hurricane. Like, we've gone through like the leading up to the eye of the hurricane. If you're going into the eye, the most intense winds and storm is right at the eye wall. So it was like we're going up to the eye wall. We broke through. Now we're in the eye of the hurricane. And eyes of hurricanes can be unstable. So sometimes the eye stays stable and it moves in a way. And if you're moving with the hurricane, you could stay in the eye for quite a while. Sometimes it's there's shear and it's unstable, and the eye can jump from one place to another, and you can find yourself instantly in the storm again. So we're in a period now where I feel there's uncertainty in a sense. Uncertainty, and that uncertainty breeds volatility. And we're seeing that like in the last week in the markets, just, unprecedented volatility. So if one were to make a prediction, the prediction would be that the volatility will remain until the next eye wall, until we break into this next period. There's a potential that tomorrow, Monday, could read some things that could equate it with the Lehman crisis moment tomorrow. Robinhood and all of these shorts, Robinhood might be insolvent. And if Robinhood is insolvent, and all of the people who have the millennials, people my age and younger, who have been putting their stimulus checks and other money getting into the market, but they're mostly inexperienced and see it as a quick way to make money, but they don't understand it's a predatory environment, and the sharks are all out there to take their money. So my prediction in relation to that is what we're going to see is peak investment of the retail sector into the stock market. Meanwhile, the insiders will be extracting their profits, and then that is the forerunner to the crash. So I don't have the analytics to know how close we are to the peak, but by some accounts it could be tomorrow. But if I take a seasonal perspective, it's likely that this whole next month is going to be this peak period of probably starting tomorrow. It's going to be pretty clear tomorrow, the trend of how it's going to play out as far as the volatility and all that. But in general, that trend for at least until the spring. So it's going to be the peak for this month, and I'm looking forward to the next season. I'm still not really in that mode yet. I'm still in just staying in the winter, but doing some networking through a couple different organizations, Freedom Cells, and one or two others, and the plan is to set up weekend project builds every weekend for this whole season. So every Saturday is going to be a build day, and inviting people to come here and build and share meals and network in person, build community, and build community infrastructure. And then in the rest of the week, I'll be dedicating my time to also building and developing the foundation, but possibly in things that are more focused on my needs and development and stuff, whereas the weekend would be more community-based projects, community infrastructure projects. So that looks promising as a way to branch out and network, and that's what's really necessary, is to build community and community resilience in order to be able to deal with whatever comes our way. I also, following the election and it becoming clear to me the vaccination whole agenda is hasn't been derailed in any sort of way. It has become, I want to say, impungent. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but impugned. Necessary of me to enter into legal battle in the court realm. So I filed a federal suit under the Civil Rights Act, suing the local grocery store, which has denied me the sale of food on several occasions. It's the only one who's doing it. The other grocery stores aren't doing it, and no problem going to these places without wearing a mask. But as Providence has it, the one closest local grocery store has decided to have a strict policy of discrimination against healthy people who do not compromise their integrity by masking themselves. So filed all that paperwork, and it's going to be a long process, but it's in process. And I think that's about all to update for now. Oh, there's the whole censorship trend agenda. Oh, and then updating the whole violence agenda. It seems like the violence trend has actually, and the civil war trend is also in the eye of the storm type situation, where it's likely, not guaranteed, but it's likely to seem very passive for a while, because the ruling parties have formed a form of compromise where they can maintain a degree of integrity and collectively, through a monopoly or a cabal, rape the general population. And for that reason, instead of these forces being divided against each other and seeking to divide the integrity of the rape state, the nation, which taxes, extracts, and redistributes all that wealth to the most wealthy, that will just get continued and consolidated in order to maintain their ruling order. So until something drastically shifts, it's just going to be worse and worse for the people, and there's not really any kind of leadership to have breakaway movements from that descending trend of decay. Other than this, Allodium is one example, but there's not a lot of momentum here now, and the isolation has worked really well, and so that will continue. But that's all good, because it's also like the winter, weeding out the toxic elements. And then, and then the violence, people won't get violent until things get really bad, lacking the orientation towards motivating kind of targets. So it's like, for existence, Black Lives Matter is a very violent movement, organizing these violent protests, and destroying things, but they're organized. So it's like, and Antifa in the same way. So it's like, we're going to meet here, and we're going to go do this, and we're going to go break things in an organized way. If you had those individuals not being organized, they would just be internally conflicted, and they wouldn't just go do violent things or break things. And it's similar with what you see for the non-aligned movement within the country. A lot of them, after the election, are disillusioned by Trump. A lot of them still want to see Trump as this savior. They don't understand that he's just a political figurehead who's playing in the same political game, and is just meant to divide them. They've been divided by the whole Q movement and the media and the free speech censorship. So they're kind of frolicking at this point. And you'll have some lone wolf types that will probably do some kind of things out of desperation, as they see no other outlet. But in general, they're not going to get organized until the volatility reaches a breaking point, basically. Till we reach the get out of the eye of the storm into the trailing section, and then you'll see all of the different aspects of unity disintegrate, and then turn on each other, and kind of like many different powers fighting for the seat of power, and in so doing they destroy the seat, and the people largely die in the process. And Game of Thrones is a good kind of analogy for all that. So yeah, that's what I see going forward, and we'll see how it all plays out externally. If anybody watching this wants to be involved in the projects in the next season, you're certainly welcome. Just communicate with me on Telegram, in the weekly reports on Steemit. There's links to all the Telegram channels, or to message me. And the links to the Steemit will be in this video. And as far as I know, that's about all. And I'll talk to you next month.